Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we will be covering three verses from third canto, chapter 8, verse 20, 21, and 22. Please join us in the recitation of the first verse. Srimad Bhagavatam 3:8-20. Tamasya apare viduratma sargam vichinvato abhut sumaham strinemihi yo deha bhajam bhayam virayanha Parikshinotyayur ajasya hetihi. Tamasi apare, because of an ignorant way of searching. Vidur, O Vidur, Atma Sargam, the cause of his creation. Vichin Vataha, while contemplating. Abhut, it so became. Sumahan, very great. Three Nemihi, time of three dimensions. Yaha, which. Deha bhajam, of the embodied. Bhayam, fearfulness. Iriyanaha, generating. Parikshinoti, diminishing the 100 years. Ayuhu, duration of life. Ajasya, of the self-born. Hetihi, the wheel of eternal time. Translation by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Vidur, while searching in that way about his existence, Brahma reached his ultimate time, which is the eternal wheel in the hand of Vishnu, and which generates fear in the mind of the living entity like the fear of death. Text 21. I'll be reading just the translation and the purports. Thereafter, being unable to achieve the desired destination, he retired from such searching and came back again to the top of the lotus. Thus, controlling all objectives, he concentrated his mind on the Supreme Lord. Purport. Samadhi involves concentrating the mind upon the supreme cause of all, even if one is unaware of whether his actual nature is personal, impersonal, or localized. Concentration of the mind on the Supreme is certainly a form of devotional service. To cease from personal sense endeavors and to concentrate on the Supreme cause is a sign of self-surrender. And when self-surrender is present, there is a sure sign of devotional service. Each and every living entity needs to engage in devotional service to the Lord if he wishes to understand the ultimate cause of his existence. Verse 22, translation. At the end of Brahma's 100 years, when his meditation was complete, he developed the required knowledge, and as a result, he could see in his heart the Supreme within himself, whom he could not see before with the greatest endeavor. Purport. The Supreme Lord can be experienced only through the process of devotional service and not by one's personal endeavor in mental speculation. Bhaktayam Abhijanitihi. The age of Brahma is calculated in terms of Divya years, which are distinct from the solar years of human beings. The Divya years are calculated in Bhagavad Gita 8.17, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Ahar Yad Brahmano Viduhu. Brahma's one day is equal to 1000 times the aggregate of the 4 yugas, calculated to be 4.3 million years. On that basis, Brahma meditated for 100 years before he could understand the supreme cause of all causes. And then he wrote the Brahma Samhita, which is approved and recognized by Lord Chaitanya, and in which he sings, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. One has to wait for the mercy of the Lord before one can either render service unto him or know him as he is. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. please join us in the recitation of Guru Pranati so that we can get the blessings from the Acharyas. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तदहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, let me bring everyone to the same page, covering the background. So, Ganges, she flows through from the celestial planets down to the lower planets. And the four Kumaras, and this is a conversation between Maitreya Muni and Vidwan Vidur. So he is not yet Mahatma because he's not, it's not shown to be self-realized at this point. He becomes self-realized after he hears Bhagavatam. And here in this conversation, first of all, what important thing is happening is that Maitreya establishes the disciplic succession. That this knowledge that he has received, that he is revealing to Vidur, is received in disciplic succession. And the four Kumaras, they are the sons of Brahma. So they travel through the Ganges, which is known as Mandakini and the higher planets and so forth, different names at different places. Sometimes we also see the same road is there, but in different areas, it has different names. We see very common in US and in Europe. So same is the case. So same Ganges, but she is called by different names at different places. Like on earth, she is Bhagirathi, because it was Bhagirath who enabled the descent, who prayed and asked Ganges to come to Mother Earth. So they traveled through the Ganges to the lower planets. And who is on the lower planet? Who's carrying all these planets? The 14 planetary systems. Sometimes people think of 14 planetary systems to be like 14 planets. No, they're actually layers of planets. Earth has one of its planets, and there are many other earthly planets in the same realm. And here, in the lower, everything is resting on Lord Anantashesh. And the four Kumaras have come to hear Bhagavatam from him. So it is very important when we want to know about our father, then we have to know it from someone who was there before our father was there and who has seen the life of our father. And Anantashesh is seeing everything. He's singing glories, almost for eternity, ever since he was given the responsibility to carry the planetary systems. So Lord Sankarshan, that's another name for Anantashesh, he is revealing Srimad Bhagavatam to the four Kumaras. Now, when we hear about Lord Sankarshan is revealing and he is reciting Srimad Bhagavatam to the four Kumaras, he is also in his Balram form as he appeared in Dwarka. So in Dwarka was Lord Sankarshan. So we have to look at it from the various perspectives. And the Vedic planetarium in Mayapur is going to have this chandelier, which very nicely depicts, how Lord Sankarshan is addressing the four Kumaras. And how do we know that the four Kumaras came through the Ganges, traveling through the Ganges? Because the hair on their head was wet. And that was one sign. And then it was passing on the lineage. And finally, this knowledge was received by Parashamuni. And Maitreya Muni Sage Maitreya says that Vidur, you happen to be in the same lineage. He is talking of the biological lineage because Parashar is the father of Srila Vyasdev, Srila Krishna Devapanya Vyasdev. And he's the biological son of, Srila Vyasadeva. And his mother happens to be the maidservant. So this is getting Vidur also interested, just like the four Kumaras were interested to know about their father. Now, we are not just hearing about our father, we are hearing about fathers, 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 all the way to the first created being in this universe. And it is revealed very nicely that Lord Brahma, when he, the time triggered the three modes of material nature in the navel of Lord Vishnu, from where the lotus bud sprouted. And as it came up, the planetary systems got established, and Lord Brahma just woke up on this lotus, and everywhere it was dark, right? So we are going to be looking from external search to internal realization here, because this is Lord Brahma's journey to self-discovery. So please join me in this journey where we'll be reflecting on the profound message from Srimad Bhagavatam, these verses, where Lord Brahma, the original engineer of this universe, the original living entity who's responsible for the secondary creation, undergoes this amazing, mind-blowing journey. You can say it could be a powerful journey because it's revealing so many facts to us, causing us to understand things as they are. So driving us, he himself took this journey, and it started with confusion. When he woke up, he did not, it was dark. He did not know who he is. He did not know where he is. He did not know why he is. That's a very important thing. So think of a time where you felt totally lost, so much so that even Google search, when you try to find out where am I, you're trying to find Google Maps, and the Google Maps, you say, oh, no reception. What do I do? Even Google Maps can't help you, or Waze cannot help you. So whatever the map application you're using, and that's exactly how Lord Brahma felt, and he didn't have Google. So what did he do? He realized that he's floating on a lotus flower. So again, and he couldn't see his parents. He couldn't see any other living entity around him. There were no manuals, no guidelines. Like we are lucky to have these amazing guidelines for us, that we can understand who we are, why we are here, what's the purpose of life, and so forth. But he didn't have any of these. All he had was just infinite darkness. Sometimes it's very interesting that we wake up at night and we may be feeling thirsty, or we may be feeling hungry. We go to the kitchen and then wonder, why am I here? What caused me to be present in this place of all the places? So this journey we will be using from the exploration Lord Brahma takes on. So he starts going down the stem of the lotus flowers, so the lotus stem, he's trying to travel so much so that he reaches the time factor, present as Sudarshan Chakra. So it's like he's looking at the time factor in that form, and he's wondering, what is all this? He's trying to understand. He's trying to find the reason, right? And sometimes we do the same thing, like he's looking for his search, and he's determined to search it out. He wants to find out, where is he? And if he can find someone, then he can ask, who is he and why is he there, and so forth, and try to find someone who was there before. So welcome to Brahma's dilemma. He woke up on a lotus in the cosmic ocean, looked around and wondered, why am I here? Where am I? And who is in charge of all this? There's all this dark place, and I want to seem to be on a lotus, and I can go down, I can, look around. And even Lord Brahma, who's the most intelligent being in this universe, had an existential crisis. Have you ever had an existential crisis? And this is where we are beginning today. by learning Brahma, search, and realization. I know it may feel very scary because existential crisis we have faced in so many levels. Sometimes when we were in school, we were looking to make friends, and when there was no friend, and we changed our school, came to a new place. It became an existential crisis. We don't know anyone. Everyone else is good friend of everyone else's, and we are the new one here. We're going to be left out. So we go to the college hoping that we'll get, nice job and everything. But believe me, my dear devotees, that's not the guarantee. Many times people from the very best colleges, they come out of the college and for 6 months to a year, they are still looking for job. That's existential crisis. They do not know what's going to happen. Sometimes there is recession going on, causing another level of existential crisis. So my question to you is, have you ever felt lost despite having all the tools around you? Even the firstborn Brahma felt that way. It's not just us, but what we are experiencing, even the first living entity faced it the moment he woke up. And he's literally born, as Lord Sankarshan reveals to the four Kumaras, who are the sons of Lord Brahma, that he was born on a lotus without parents. He did not know whose parents are. At least when the four Kumaras were born, they knew that Brahma is their father. He did not have any brothers or sisters, no siblings. And worst of all, no smartphone or GPS either. Current times, I have seen sometimes, 1 year, 2 year old kids, they are really good at using phones. They pick up iPad and they start navigating and pick up a nursery and they want to listen and they play it. And the parents said they just learned it because these tools were available. But think of Lord Brahma. So I'm going to use an acronym. I'll reveal to you what this acronym is about because this is about time. The acronym is time, TIME. So after going through, suddenly something happens. The first shock Lord Brahma gets, which becomes a turning point. So as we heard in the translation, that he was searching in that way about his existence, trying to find out who he is, why is he there, where is he? And so he reached his ultimate time, which is the eternal will in the hand of Lord Vishnu. And when we look at eternal time, when somebody tells us that, hey, human birth has 100 years, and after 100 years, you're going to die. So people think from the material perspective that I'm going to die. But in reality, it's not us who is dying. It's the body that is dying. But this is what Lord Brahma saw. Nobody revealed to him that he is the soul. He saw himself as a being with material body. And so in eternal time, he was able to, as if a film went through right front of his eyes. And he saw himself aging and finally dying. So when that was there, he's like, okay, I came here. I do not know who I am. I do not know where I am. But if I'm going to just die without knowing, it's fearful. And that was the fear that, instilled into him. So this is like the various kind of fears they generated because of the wheel of time. So he is confused about his purpose and origin. He is exploring the stem of the lotus. He's going down, right, to understand what are the roots. We sometimes do similar exploration. Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita help us understand that journey. But he didn't have any of these resources. And instead, he reaches Kal Chakra, which doesn't belong to us. That belongs to Lord Vishnu. It's many times, man proposes, God disposes. Many times we have a plan for the day, but Lord has his own plan for us for the day. And Kal Chakra, the time factor, is under his control, not in our control. So that's why we simply pray. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So what's the lesson? That even the greatest being, the first living entity, the greatest engineer in our universe, is subject to time. And time is under Lord Vishnu's control, not ours. Now, fear of death, this fear is real. He's not, feeling like, oh, I got a jittery feeling. No, he feels the fear of death. And why does he feel that? Because it stems from the false identification with the body. And not just the body, and identification of the forgetfulness, not identifying that he is the soul, because he only sees the body. We cannot see the subtler than the subtle, the soul. And so when Lord Brahma confronts time, he understands his limitations, right? Now, sometimes people think of time as, you know, straight, so many years you pass, years have so many months and so many days, and each day has so many hours. You can look at it that way. And then we are just living a day in and day out. So it looks like time is like a treadmill. And it may feel like we are progressing, but it's also wearing us down. We have to be very, very careful of time factor, right? Brahma is trying to understand who he is and what is this universe? Where am I? What is this place? But he hits a wall. And what's that wall? It's that Kal, time factor. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, time, I am the devourer of all things, right? Which is a form of Lord, but it's only in the material universes that the time factor exists. And the three dimensions is, there's past, present, and future. He encounters the Sudarshan Chakra. We're representing time in Lord's hand, right? So here we see this, and then we say, wait a minute, this looks similar. The time factor is realized even by the greatest of devotees. Yudhishthira Maharaj, even he realized time after Lord Krishna's departure, and Lord Krishna's departure back to Golok. He saw many inauspicious signs that began to appear, and everything auspicious that was good start to vanish, right? So that's God's will in motion. So again, this is not in our control. It is in Krishna's control. And so after seeing Krishna depart, he sensed that yes, the time has come. Vyasadeva realized that the Kali age is coming, and reversal are happening. So Yudhishthira Maharaj's realization happened not just from the bad signs, but also Draupadi's sons and brother. They died. They were killed by Ashwatthama in the darkness of night. Arjun, when trying to bring the Krishna's queens from Dwarka, he was defeated by some cowherd men. So again, he loses his strength. He had the same Gandiva, he is the same Arjun, he has the same divine weapons, but a few, cowherd men, they defeated him. And they took away all the queens of Krishna. And that's also because there was a curse to them, these queens. Now, when we look at in real life, we look at various examples. I'm reminded of a billionaire that once said, I don't have time for God. But years later, paralyzed and alone, he realized time had all the time in the world for him. So we have to use our time very carefully. And that's why we take to devotional service to make the best use of our time, right? So what are some of the lessons? Let's look at it. Time is just ticking. It is teaching. It's the greatest teacher. Yes, time is also the greatest healer. It is the devourer of all things, as represented by Lord Krishna. People who don't take to devotional service, they see time factor in the form of death. Yes. And when we hit the dead end in our life, what does it represent? We should understand that's Lord gently turning us inward. We are realizing that externally we cannot get help, so we have to give inward. So, can you think of a moment in life when time humbled you? I can think of so many instances. I'll tell you one simple one is after I got my master's from Johns Hopkins, I was like, oh, yes, I'm master's in computer science. I got the best grades and everything is so wonderful. Guess what? Right after that, reduction in force happened and 30% of the organization was let go. And I was in one of them. So, it's very interesting. You're thinking, oh, I'm going to get promotion. Well, you just got reduction in force and now you are looking for a job. And this happens many times, not just them. Current times also. There are so many people who are very qualified, but they are out there looking for job. So this is, I'm just telling you some basic ways people realize existential crisis. But as devotees, we think of it as a blessing in disguise because we say, wow, Krishna wants us to come inward. And that's the next topic. So having learned what is the turning point, Lord Brahma, he actually started introspecting. He immediately came back to his, lotus flower. He came back from the stem back to the flower, and he started contemplating. What did he see? What did he experience? What kind of fear was it? And he turned inward as he got this amazing message, tapa. He heard these two letters, and he, for amazing reasons, understood what it meant, that he has to meditate within himself. So it's very important that we, when we hit a turning point, we do introspection. We ask ourselves, what is it that I have observed? What is it that I have faced? And let me take it inward and try to understand what is the lesson for me. So, as the next verse translation says, that unable to find his roots, unable to reach the desired destination, understand where he is, who he is, why he is there, he retired from such searching, right? And after having come to the lotus flower back and controlling all objectives, he concentrated his mind on the Supreme Lord. Just one word could help him understand that he has to meditate. So he realized sometimes we do the same thing. We are looking for things outside everywhere, but not knowing that it's right there. Many times it has happened that I'm looking for my glasses, and then my wife tells me, Prabhu, you are wearing your glasses. We're looking everywhere, outward. Where are my glasses? Where are my glasses? Oh, I have my glasses. Okay. So we have to understand that we do not know everything. So similarly, Lord Brahma, his external search didn't yield any answer. And so he retreated from external actions. And now there is an internal action that's happening because he hears the word tapa. Perform austerity, meditate in silence. So again, that is devotional service. And he's meditating on not himself. So no, that's not the case because he doesn't know who he is. How can he meditate on himself? He got clear understanding by divine grace that he has to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the super soul in his heart. And he controls the wandering of the senses. So this is 100% he is focusing on meditating. And now he takes this path of internal meditation, focusing on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Now, the answers to the life deepest questions, they do not actually lie in outer exploration, but in inner absorption in the Supreme. That's why one of the most important activities that we do, we may forget about all other things, but when we wake up, we thank our Guru, we thank, the demigods who have given us this life, this wonderful day. We thank Lord Krishna. Of course, we start with Guru and Krishna and so forth. And being thankful to all the facilities that we have received, we engage in the chanting of the holy name. We take on our beads and start chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That becomes our meditation. And let Lord do the magic. Everything is under his control. So we have to, this is a sign of surrender, Srila Prabhupada reveals in his purport. That this behavior of Lord Brahma is a sign of surrender. And this is introspection. We are turning within, right? So what's important for us to understand that at this particular point, T was turning point, I is for introspection, where Lord Brahma has stopped his external exploration. He has chosen inner stillness with outer strength. So we do need to prepare ourselves. We need to control our senses, which requires outer struggle, but we have to understand the stillness within us, in meditation. And that is the true beginning of spiritual life, sense control. This is a very important piece. And life's reverses are God's redirection. We are going in a specific direction. Sometimes it happens. We are going on a road, we miss the turn, and suddenly GPS says, please take the next exit. Well, you missed that turn, but you can still make it out. That's GPS giving us direction. But places where GPS is not there, God is there. Krishna is there. So he gives us redirections, right? So life's reverses are not bad things. They may appear to us as bad things, but they're not really bad things. They're actually redirections bringing us back to the proper direction, causing us to come to the right direction. Sometimes we take on GPS, and yes, it's loaded, the sign is there, but it says, I'm calculating, recalculating. And it becomes a very funny cycle. We might have missed our path completely. And afterwards, we're, so frustrated, we just pull it on the side of the road. Now, somebody could say, has such a incident happened in Bhagavatam at other places? Yes, we have heard about Dhruv Maharaj. He was hurt when Uttanpad, he was climbing on his father's, King Uttanpad's lap, and Mother Suruchi, the stepmother, pushed him down and said that you will have to give up this life and take birth from my womb. Only then you will become eligible to sit in your father's lap, like Uttam Shloka is sitting. So he was hurt. He felt humiliated. He was biting his lips with his teeth. He was in anger. He's a Kshatriya boy. And he went to his mother, Suniti, and she said, your stepmother is right. You have to take shelter of the Supreme Father. So he introspected in that conversation with his mother. And so he followed mother's instructions, and by the divine grace, by Lord's blessing, Sage Narad came along to help him and gave him this amazing mantra. You know the mantra? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yes, the mantra is powerful. Yes, his determination is strong. Yet at the same time, even Dhruv Maharaj, he had to control himself. Now the amazing part is this, that when Dhruv Maharaj, he took to this, we hear about Brahma, who's he's on Satya Lok, or Brahma Lok also referred to as sometimes. But Dhruv Maharaj got a planet just by in 6 months that is greater than Satya Lok, the resident of Lord Brahma. So anything is possible, my dear devotees, if we take to devotional service properly. And Srila Prabhupada gave us a perfect solution. Why stay with Dhruv Lok? Let's completely get out of here and go to Golok. So this path of taking to devotional service by taking to the teachings in Bhagavad Gita, by taking to the teachings in Srimad Bhagavatam, we can cross over this material universe and go back home, back to Godhead. And that is our mission. Yet at the same time, let's come back. To be able to do that, we must approach a spiritual master. This is where Srila Prabhupada is referring in the purport for 21st, that we have to approach a bona fide spiritual master who is expert in Vedic knowledge. And Lord Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishto mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaishcha sarvairahameva vedyo vedant kridveda videva chaham. So he's saying, from me comes knowledge, forgetfulness, and ignorance. Yet at the same time, I'm the goal of the Vedas. Vedas are there to know me. That's what Lord Brahma is doing. But he doesn't have Vedas. He doesn't know. He hasn't yet met the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even Brahma, he has to receive this divine instruction, tapa. When he hears that That is the first spiritual download in creation, right? Now, this reminds me that a monk once said that the truth we seek in temples is just waiting inside our silent heart. So we have to have an introspection. We know what our capabilities are, we know what our, you know, shortcomings are and so forth, and the abilities also, which is also Purushan issue. Lord Krishna says, I am the ability in man. So we should be grateful that even the abilities that we have. Now here, we are trying Googling every day, right? Brahma did not have a Google search, but he did have one search. He tried the Lotus search. But then that didn't work out. That internet was down. So especially what did he have to do? He had to take to soul search. That is what we all have to understand. Means this is sometimes we hear and we read about Lord Brahma's journey in trying to find who he is, and we say this is a nice, interesting story. No, actually, it is a soul-searching story. We also have the same journey. We are also at the level of Brahma of our small world that is known as in the form of our false ego. It creates its own universe, and we are the Brahma of our universe. And unless we do the soul search, there is very little hope for us. So we must surrender to a guru who is well versed in the Vedas and understand the goal of the Vedas, and so that he can teach us. And thus, the lesson here is that we have to absorb ourselves in the absolute. Even Brahma received this divine instruction. He downloaded it instantly. When he heard, he understood it. Sometimes we are just reading through it. Knowing is not as important as understanding things. What are we reading? Why are we reading it? How can it revolutionize our life? That's an important aspect. Hare Krishna, sorry. Sometimes my phone calls show up. So, T is for turning point, I is for introspection, and we already know that M is for meditation. When silence becomes sound. So again, this is the beauty that, Lord Brahma, at the end of Brahma's 100 years, his meditation was complete. Now, Srila Prabhupada simplifies it. He talks about the day and says that, okay, 1,000 of those Chaturyugas in one day of Brahma, and thus 100 years. So he got the knowledge and he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his heart. So he was looking outside to know, who's my creator. And then he sees him within his heart. So after lifetimes of tapasya, 100 celestial years, so this is referring to the demigods years, Brahma received this divine knowledge, transcendental knowledge. Now, he had to work so hard. And Srila Prabhupada, once he was meeting, at the host family's place, he was visiting. And he said, what is the topmost knowledge? And people were talking about various Vedas and this and that. He said, well, even in our Krishna consciousness movement, even a child knows. Who is Krishna? He asked to a boy who was just playing around. There were kids playing around. And the boy said, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the topmost knowledge. Knowing that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's where everything ends. Everything is under Krishna's control. We just have to surrender ourselves to Krishna. So Brahma finally beholds the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, the Paramatma within himself. And so this vision, this was not possible if he was working outside. So when he was looking, externally, outside. So sometimes when we look for happiness, we have to seek happiness within, right? So this was only possible through long, deep, steady devotion and deep meditation. Yes. Sometimes we hear, like impersonalists, they talk about this. Don't mind the matter. Matter does not, and mind does not matter. Well, that's an impersonalist talk, because Bhagavad Gita is where Lord Krishna says it's all about our mind. He's saying, Mayeva man adatsva may buddhim niveshya. Fully dedicate your meditation on me. May smaran yuddhacha. O Arjun, think of me and then fight. Carry out your duties, thinking of me as a offering to me. So he's clearly telling Arjun very clearly. And he's also saying, Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Always think of me. We use our mind to think of Lord Krishna. So it's all about mind control when you look at it. So we are not impersonalists. Impersonalists sometimes come with the mindset. One impersonalist, he goes to the salad vendor and he says, make me, one with all. His meaning was put all the ingredients and make me a nice salad meal. So the vendor prepares a nice salad meal and hands it to him. He takes our $100 note and hands it over to the vendor. The vendor takes the note and puts it in his pocket. This Gyan Yogi, he's waiting, and he's saying, what about the change? This was just 565. What about my 94.35, dollars coming back? The vendor smiled and said, this happens to be a devotee. He says, change must come from within. We have to do soul searching. So again, it's a nice way of understanding, sometimes in a joking way, that important messages can be given to us in a very simple manner. So after 100 years of meditation, Brahma was able to see the Supreme Lord. And are there any example like this? Well, we actually have many examples in Bhagavatam like this. We know about Hiranyakashipu. He said, Vishnu has killed my brother. And he was going from topmost planet to the bottommost planet. He was looking for Lord Vishnu. And he was not able to find Vishnu. And it is revealed very clearly. Shukdev Goswami says, Lord Vishnu entered his heart. So he's looking outside and Lord is sitting in his heart. Unable to find Vishnu. So he says, there is no Vishnu. While on the other hand, Prahlad, he is constantly seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his heart. He's seeing the Super Soul. He doesn't have to look outside. He's the example, he's the role model for Smaranam. He is seeing the Super Soul in his heart. So sometimes we are looking for something outside, but all we have to do is seek it inside. External factors are there, but they may not always be true. How do we understand that? Reminds me of a very common event. We were some students. We had a nice lake, beautiful weather. Everything seems to be perfect. And we said, this is happiness. That's what the students were saying. And one of the boys said, yes, I feel the happiest today. This is like the best place I could have come. I'm with my friends and we are having a nice picnic. We are having some amazing prasadam and so forth. Suddenly his phone rang. He said, hello. And then his brother called him and just to tell him that he failed the exam. He's like, this is the worst day of my life. Sometimes reversal, that's a turning point for him. Nothing has changed. You only heard few words. You failed the exam. And that changed his complete perception. He found no interest in the company he was in. He found no interest in the amazing food that was offered. He found no interest in the beautiful environment he was sitting in. He completely lost his interest when he heard he failed the exam. So externally, many things will happen, try to disturb us. But we have to understand those are external factors. We should not make them affect us. We have to look at ourselves. So sometimes it's really good to just take a step back, do some introspection. And in a disturbed state, what do? We can't even do any introspection. That is a perfect time to pick up your japmala and take to the chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Do one round. Look, am I stable yet? Not stable? Do 2 rounds. Do 4 rounds. First, situate yourself in the current ground, and then with the meditation, we can come to the final step, which is elevation, right? So it is for enlightenment. So enlightenment elevates us from where we are, right? And one of the important things that we understand from Lord Brahma's journey of his soul searching is that it's not gained, it's not something that we take. It is given. It is by the divine grace. It is by the mercy of the Lord that we receive it. That's why we say the mercy is received. Mercy is also called prasad. And when we are honoring prasad, we say prasad par hai. We are receiving mercy by grace of Lord Krishna. So Shri Radha Krishna's mercy is there. So we are getting all these amazing things. We have no capability to get these grains, but he has provided us. And we are very grateful for this wonderful prasadam, which doesn't just satisfy the body, but also satisfies the soul. Now, Sudama, he has this beautiful example. He had no plan, he had no power, or prayer request. Yet by sincerity, when he approached Krishna, and he had just a little bit of chipped rice in a cloth that his wife gave him. So that's bad rice, not even eatable, edible. And so Krishna immediately grabbed it and ate a whole morsel. And Rukmini, Queen Rukmini, the wife of Krishna, she became concerned. You'll get sick, my lord. Don't do that. And he's like, no, this is the best. And then he made Sudama rich without Sudama asking. So Lord, when he desires something, he is bhavgari janadana. Yes, there are a couple of instances where he is karmagrahi janadana. Putana, her bhav was to kill Krishna. But Krishna said, well, yeah, I see that. But she came in the mother's form. I would respect that. So this is the amazing part. Lord has his own opinion. We cannot say, Lord should have done this, Lord should have done that. He is completely independent. He is Swarat. And that is an important aspect. That makes it things very scary if we are in material consciousness. And Krishna consciousness, whatever is happening to us is happening for our welfare. A gold becomes pure when it is burned in fire. So we understand that yes, if there are difficulties coming in our life, Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru. In Queen Kunti, she is praying that let all these vipadas, all these miseries come again and again. Because when we see you, then we know that we will not see the repeated birth and death. We have to change our perspective towards life. And such enlightenment that now Lord Brahma is getting, it is not the result of his alone effort, it is the grace. And this is something we again and again glorify, that in Damodar Leela, we'll learn this lesson. And this applies to all our life. We have to make our effort, and then we have to depend on Lord's grace. And so, by Lord's grace, we get enlightened, and thus we achieve the true success in life. So I would like to just quickly recap. T is for turning point, I is for introspection. Lord Brahma, he returns back to the lotus. Turning point was seeing the time factor and acknowledges his mortality because he's thinking he's the body. Introspection causes him to return to lotus, looks inward, and starts self-inquiry and stillness. And M is for meditation, where he concentrates on Lord Vishnu, practices sincere meditation. And E is for enlightenment. He sees the Lord within by the grace of the Lord, but he has to make that outward effort to be able to receive the grace. And completely we have to surrender to receive the grace as well. And thus, Lord Brahma is able to receive inner realization. And this is where I would like to end again. Gantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhagavad ki jai, Anant Kori Vaishnavinda ki jai. An important lesson is that we have to look at the time factor, and it's only under the control of the Lord. And we have to look inward for soul searching, just like Lord Brahma has taken his soul searching. Google search was not available. Lotus search was not successful. Hare Krishna. Back to you, Satyav Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this information. Wow. So many things to appreciate. The acronym time is so beautiful. Wow. turning
Mercy.
introspection, meditation, and enlightenment. Well, dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, reflections, realizations you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your reflection. Sindhu, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. Please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna JIVA TATTVA Prabhu.
Can,
Please
can,
accept my.
can we see your lotus face? Is it possible?
Yes, give me 1 second. I'll be more presentable in a minute.
All right, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Sindhu Mataji.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful class. I've heard your classes previously also. It is very inspiring, and thank you so much for your association this morning, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Um, I have one question, Prabhu. When you said things happen in our life, right? And it is very difficult to overcome. We are most of the time in bewilderment,
Mhm.
overwhelmed, and frustrated, right?
Yes.
And you said, pick up your japamala and start chanting.
Mhm.
What happens is the mouth is chanting, but my mind is still not settled, no
Yes.
matter how many rounds I do. And that this is just me. The holy name is all powerful, I know, but it is the lowliness or the low nature of my consciousness that I'm not able to reach to that higher realm, right? So that's why I wanted to ask you, is there anything else? I mean, it happens maybe once, one mantra, I think I'm there, but again, I'm back, and it takes a long time for me to even get to that one mantra.
Hare Krishna, Sindhu Mataji. So you're not alone in this journey. Arjun had the same dilemma. He said, Mana Chanchala Krishna. It's pramada. It's like obstinate. It doesn't stay at one place. Now, sometimes we use it as an excuse that it's very difficult. But then Lord Krishna's instruction right after that is by proper endeavor, we can make things happen. But then when we feel ourselves short, luckily we have more facilities than what Lord Brahma had. We have devotee association.
Mm,
So we should reach out to some senior Vaishnava or someone who is a good friend of ours, or just counseling members, who are providing the volunteering their services. And actually, we were also the admin and support for Corona Care program in ISKCON.
mm,
So you can always reach out to them and say, hey, I am in this particular tough situation.
mm,
Could you help me understand the current situation? And it all starts with, what am I feeling? Journaling is a great tool. I'm giving you multiple ways, right?
mm,
Reach out to Corona Care program, see if they can
mm,
help you. But before even you reach out, I'll give you something that you prepare so that you may find the solution yourself. And then you can use Corona Care or other devotees to check, validate what your feelings are.
mm,
So it's important for us to understand, what are we feeling? Are we feeling lost? Are we feeling anger? Are we feeling sad? Are we feeling overwhelmed? Are we feeling lonely? What is that feeling that's causing us? And where is it driving us away? Because same event may happen in the life of two people, but they may have completely different reaction to it, or completely
mm,
different response. Two, twins of a father who was a big alcoholic, you know, when the father was no more, the sons had grown up, and the state was divided between the two. The journalists, they approached both the sons, the twins. One was highly successful,
mm,
and they said, "What is the reason of your success?" But let me cover the one that was not so successful. So when they asked the one who was not so successful, he said, "My father was a drunkard. I ended up being a drunkard."
mm,
When they reached the second one, they said, "My father was a drunkard. I really what it did to him. So I did not, I decided not to touch alcohol in my life. I never drank a single drop." So same event, but two different responses. And that's what differentiates we devotees from materialist,
Very.
right? We have to look at it as what is the lesson for me. In reality, devotees only win. Either we learn lesson or we win.
Mm.
God's grace. We don't win things out there, we win Lord's grace. So again, when somebody appreciates, we say, this is by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, what ability I have. Parasham Nishad, all the abilities are coming from Krishna. And Chakshu Unmilitam Yena. So even the sight to be able to speak, all these abilities are coming by the mercy of Guru and Parampara. So there is very little abilities in us. Actually, no abilities. Everything is provided to us. So we have to take shelter. Taking shelter is the ultimate solution. And hopefully this will help you become stable, because Brahma saw his death. Somebody says, this is how you're going to die. Somebody shows you like a film, this is your life is going to be. He literally saw the end of the lifespan. What's worse, and the fear of death is said to be one of the worst, and especially when you don't know that you are not the body or the soul. And
Mm.
that's how materialist life starts. When we were born, we didn't know we are the souls. We had to take shelter of a guru, take proper understanding. So when we do feel overwhelmed, we should ask for help. But it's very important. Understand it's a turning point. We have to go for introspection, and we have more facilities than Brahma. He did not have Google search.
That's true. Very well
Thank
said,
you.
Prabhu. Very well. I liked one point which you made, which you said there is a difference between the same event happening to a devotee and a non devotee. And that actually clicked very well for me to say how we react through the Shastras, through the Guru's mercy, through Krishna's mercy is totally different, and it may be a success at the end of it, right? Like you said. Thank you, Prabhu. That one point really
Hare
stuck
Krishna.
with me. Thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
I will definitely contact the Karuna Care. I've not heard about it before. This is the first time I'm hearing, but definitely I will get in touch, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Anyone else with something to ask or to share? Well, yeah, Thakur Murari Prabhu, please give me on mute.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances.
I'll go to Srila Prabhupada.
All good.
So thanks again for your presentation. I've been on the call a couple of times when you speak, and it's already, so nourishing, and a lot of nectar to one who said churn. And thanks for reminding us about one we call disappointment. And I'm reminded of the story of Pingala, when, as he said, the part of it, he said, and shows the purpose, he said, disappointment is the greatest pleasure. One said, how come? But then if you go deep, you realize that maybe you do not worked out for me. So yes. So thanks for that acronym, the time acronym, which very nice. So thanks. As usual, your talks very rewarding. Thanks, and thanks for the time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Thakur Murari Prabhu. Anyone else with something to ask or to share? Oh, Govinda Prabhu, please. You may unmute.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. My respectful obeisances to you. All glories to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. And all glories to the assembled devotees. Yeah, Prabhu, please, can you please help me understand this fact? You made mention of one going within when we have distractions, when there are problems. The Salo Brahma did not know what to do, and so he was instructed to go within. And so sometimes we can also do the same thing. But my question is that most of us are not in touch with the super soul. And mostly we deal with our mind, the details of the mind. And so how do we determine that I'm trying to go within, I'm trying to get answers to my predicaments from the super soul? But how would I know that the conviction that I'm having from my meditation is coming from my mind or is coming from the super soul? How would I know?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So,
Hare
very
Krishna.
important. How do we know? That's why we do validation, right? We have scriptures, Sadhu, Guru, and Shastra. Those are our three references. The devotees, the spiritual masters. I said spiritual masters because, yes, one is initiating, but there can be many teaching, instructing spiritual masters. And then we have the scriptures. And within the scriptures, there are a lot of instructing spiritual masters. And Srila Vyasadeva, he had written Puranas, he had written the Vedas, he divided Vedas into four, and then he was dissatisfied. We are puny, we are nowhere compared to the frustration he must be feeling that he was not satisfied. And he, by divine grace, by divine arrangement, he was able to get the instructions from Narad. Sage Narad came to his ashram and gave him instruction. We have to still use the intelligence because we have intelligence that has been received from the Lord, that we have to use our intelligence with the proper purpose. The mind in material consciousness has the tendency of rationalizing things. Rational lies. It takes on those lies and it rationalizes it. You know what? This is what Lord is saying. But in reality, we can check that by saying, what are my options? And then we grade them, which is the easiest and which is the toughest one. We might have picked up something in the middle, but it's the toughest one that actually is the right instruction, that we are avoiding it because of various reasons, laziness, procrastination. That's the nature of this age also. We're talking about time today. And this Kali age is prayana alpayusha sabhya kalavasmin yogejana manda sumanda matyo man bhagya praduta. The sages in Namasharana are revealing to Sutta Goswami that in this age, men are lazy by nature. First is alpayu, short-lived, and kala was being quarrelsome. This is the age of quarrel. And manda is laziness, manda bhagya. So that's like they are unlucky. And upraduta, they're constantly disturbed. Sumanda matyo, the intelligence is very less. That's why we take shelter of the three sources, the three, balancing things out between Sadhguru and Shastra to really understand. If we try to just stay on ourselves, say, oh, Brahma was alone, I can make it alone, then we may be deluding ourselves because Lord Brahma's capabilities are way beyond our capabilities. He understood the word tapa. When we heard that we have to chant minimum 64 rounds, that was the original Siddhanta. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, he would say, if one is not chanting 64 rounds, then he is following, he is patita. Srila Prabhupada was merciful, so he made it 16, minimum 16. Did we just pick up on day one as soon as we heard and started doing 16 rounds, Prabhu? No. We found various rational lies. We gave ourselves those lies. So that's why we need the support. So that we have to, this Bhakti Lata has to be protected by a fence, and that fence is devotee association. Having very strong and loving devotee association is important. And especially not for the ones, means again, in devotee association also, we should look for the ones who are love finders, not fault finders. Because that will make a clear distinction who's a devotee and who's trying to be a devotee. And while we are trying to be love finders, we want to take shelter of those who are love finders as well. And then we make our efforts and leave everything on Lord Krishna's grace, on his mercy. That surrender has to be there. Without the surrender, we think that we can make it on our own. We are deluding ourselves. So that would be my response, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
No, thank
Yes,
you so much.
uh,
Yeah,
we
right.
have to, the checklists are there to confirm that our conviction or the decision we are taking is true or not by um, connecting it to the scriptures, to the sadhus, and to Guru. But when there is an emergency, that is where my question is. When we have emergency, and those of us who are not learned in the scriptures, how do we connect that? Sometimes we have an emergency situation that we have to act.
Yes.
And at that point is what I'm talking about.
Yes, you're talking about the turning point. Can I give you some examples directly from Bhagavatam? Actually, I can give you many examples from my life itself, but let's stay with Bhagavatam currently. Chitraketu, he was a king of the Gandharvas. He was first an earthly king, and then he became the king of Gandharvas after his son passed away. And he saw Lord Shiva having Parvati on his lap and talking to the transcendentalists, to the sages. And he laughed. He smiled. He's like, this is amazing. But Parvati did not take it. She felt like, oh, he's laughing at my husband, Shiva. And she immediately cursed him that you become a demon. Chitraketu, did he react? He's like, no, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. He's the topmost Vaishnava. And his wife, Goddess Durga, also known as Parvati, the daughter of Parvat, Himalaya. That's why her name is Parvati too. He immediately accepted. He came, he bowed down and accepted that curse as a blessing. So how he responded to that curse is also very important. So many times people have this turning point, but they may not react properly. We have the example of Shamika Rishi, means he was in meditation when Parikshit Maharaj was thirsty, reached his hut, and he wanted some water. He saw that the sage is not welcoming his guest who has appeared. I am the king of the world. So he puts that snake. That's another influence. There was a turning point, but that it was the Shringi who saw that action and immediately cursed the king to die in 7 days. Now the king, Parikshit, when he heard he's going to die 7 days, he could have found a solution, yes, that he would not die. But he was not looking at his death, he was looking at his deliverance. How can I attain perfection? How can I attain the goal of life within the 7 days? And Lord, by his grace, sent Shukdev Goswami to him. Sometimes we take a plane travel, right? We start from a source city and go to the destination city. Once we have reached the destination, we have achieved our destination, our goal, we don't care what happens to the plane. That was the mindset Parikshit Maharaj had. He doesn't care what happens to the body. He has already attained perfection by Shravana, the simplest yet the most powerful process of devotional service. So we have to see. You're also reminding me of Indra and Dadichi Muni. There are so many conflicts in Srimad Bhagavatam, but then the devotee's response is completely different. Dadichi, when he was to give this Brahma Gyan to the Ashwini Kumaras that he had promised, Indra appeared and said, you better not give them because then they will become entitled to Amrit, nectar. And if you do that, I will chop off your head. Dadichi, he said to Ashwini Kumaras, he will chop off my head. And they found a solution. So he was still able to give. Basically, what they did was, these are the divine surgeons, these are the demigod surgeons. So they said, no problem, we will protect your head in a safe place and put a horse's head in your body. And you give us the knowledge. When Indra will come in anger, he won't see, he'll just cut off your head. So the horse's head will fall down and we'll bring your head back. Good solution. Did Dadichi say, can you show me a proof? No, he trusted their words. That these are the surgeons, and when they say something, I just have full faith in them, surrendered. and he give them the knowledge. Now, when Vritrasu, same Chitraketu, when he became Vritrasu, he appeared and he took away, Indra's reign. At that time, Indra, along with the demigods, he is going and seeing shelter of Lord Brahma and finally Lord Vishnu. And what does Lord Vishnu says? That you have to go and ask Dadichi's bones. The person he tried to kill. Now that's a true dilemma for Indra. So we have to see like how we are reacting to different things happening. And Indra's examples are given in the scriptures so many times that he's shown as short-tempered, he's shown as egoistic person, he's shown as reacting to things, and he's one of the most powerful of all the demigods. He's the king of the demigods. He's Indra. So absolute power pollutes absolutely. So the effect of power is effect of some abilities. Sometimes we become very proud of the abilities, not realizing that these abilities are coming because of the mercy of Krishna. So we have to learn to respond like Dadichi responded. He constantly surrendered so much that when the Ashwini Kumars came on behalf of Indra, asked for his bones, he gave up his body so that the bones can be used to make the thunderbolt weapon to kill Vritrasur. The level of surrender determines our level of elevation. So that's the test of enlightenment, that we are getting mercy of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Krishna. Anyone else with something to ask or to share? Well, yeah, Shumavara Acharya, please give me a mute.
Krishna Prabhu, the customer of operations, all glory to the Prabhu, and all glory to the assembly devotees. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Well,
Shimon.
just a little contribution to Govinda Prabhu's question. Thank you. You answered it elaborately. However, there is well, I have two contributions to make on that. One, I don't know how far it is scriptural, but I've heard that in the time of emergency, when we are at a crossroads,
I'm sorry, Prabhu. For some reason, you are not coming clear. I don't know whether it's only my side here or it's...
Yeah, your voice is a little muffled.
one
Shumavara.
minute. Let me change from.
Maybe if you ask in the chat and Saidev Prabhu can repeat it.
Is it okay now?
Yes, much better.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm making two contributions on what happens when we're in an emergency. I don't know how far it is scriptural, but I've heard that when we are at a crossroad, the first thought that comes into your mind, that is the flashlight of what to do.
Yes.
I say, I don't know how far it is scriptural, but psychology say this, and they say the first thought that comes to your mind, that could be the signal. That's one. But our Guru Dev also taught us something. That if you're at crossroad and it's an emergency situation and you don't know what to do, he said, do nothing. That's what Guru Dev said. He said, do nothing. Time will take care of the situation. Solution will come naturally. Just do nothing. Refrain from doing anything, because you may take a step that may complicate issues. So these are some of the two contributions I would like to make. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Shriman Parahade Prabhu. So again, thank you very much for sharing. One of the things that shows the instruction that you have is the consciousness that we carry. My Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, he told us the smart mantra. All smart people should always remember this. Smartavyo satatam Vishnu, vismartavyo na jatuchit, sarve vidhi nishedesur, etayor eva kinkara. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. And all other rules and regulations are just subservient to these two principles. And I'll give you just two instances. One during the snow time, icy road. I'm driving on an interstate and my car took 360 and then another 180 turn. The first thing that came to my mind by Lord's grace again is I immediately started chanting while I'm driving. I'm like, I don't have control of the wheels. So I'm completely at your mercy, my Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So while I'm trying to control, I've fully surrendered. So it's not, we still have to make the endeavor, but understand that this is because of divine power. Things are happening. Not a leaf moves without Lord's will. Second time, my car, the tire just burst and I ended up literally skidding across lanes and landing on a hill. It just passed between the two trucks. There was just enough space. The truck drivers, they stopped. There was like just enough space for your cars to cross. We didn't have enough room between us, and your car went like a flash of light from there and led it down the hill. How did that happen? I do not know, by Lord's mercy. So we have to constantly remember Krishna. We have to make it a habit to remember Krishna all the time. And only then we can have proper shelter. Hare Krishna. Surrender is the key. Hare Krishna. Anurupa Devi.
Hare Krishna. Anurupa Devi, please.
Haribo. Right. So I wanted to just quickly add earlier, Prabhu, another Prabhu, I think it was Khadva Prabhu, he was just asking, how do you know it is your mind rationalizing or it is direction coming from the heart, like super soul? Something like that, right, Prabhu? That was the question. And so Jivatata Prabhu nicely addressed in many ways. And I thought that I want to just add a little bit to it.
Sure.
I have been in a discussion regarding this kind of question, so I just remembered. And so when we experience negative emotions, we should understand it's the working of mind. And you know, when we are more inclined to acceptance of situation, more inclined to let go, you know, higher values like that, that we should take it as a direction coming from super soul. And from the lives of saintly souls, the great exalted personalities, that's what we are reading in Srimad Bhagavatam. That's how Lord's mercy flows. We can turn to our well-wishing dear friends, the devotees with whom we have trustworthy relationships for direction. If we cannot, there are times when we cannot directly relate to what is the mind doing to us, you know, due to what we carry in our hearts, you know, there may be ego or other factors, and we may be in denial that my mind is acting up and these are not the directions, or this is not something which is pleasing to Guru and Krishna. In that case, we can, of course, discuss with our trustworthy friends, devotees who we turn to for help. But otherwise, if sometimes certain situations are very sensitive, confidential, and we feel helpless, we can always turn to prayers. But sometimes, like Prabhu was earlier saying, emergency situation, you're at a turning point and you need to respond to the situation right away. And really, you are not in remembrance of who is the supreme controller, and you are just an instrument in that situation. So you can at least, and if not, then later on you can identify it this way. So that's all I wanted to add. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Devi. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Anurupa Devi. Anyone else with something to share or to ask?
I just want to identify, Sadhya Prabhu, that Anurupa Devi, that's my instructing guru also. So, you know, she's my better half, but she helps me understand and put things in right perspective. So you need to have the right association. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. We need to have her speak someday because she's a Bhakti Shastri instructor.
Yes.
So that would be very helpful. Well, Prabhuji, I have this not alone. That I would say like the title of what I'm about to say. What Mother Sindhu was sharing about her tongue babbling the holy names, but the mind and the heart is somewhere. I thought I was alone, but she described it, and you beautifully said, Martha, you are not alone. So I know I'm not alone. And there have been a couple times I had my eyeglasses on, and I was still looking for my eyeglasses until I was going to put eye drops. I realized I had my I had my eyeglasses on top of my head like this, and I was looking for it. So at some point, I was thinking maybe I'm developing dementia.
Prabhu, you're not alone.
I'm not alone.
Yes. Devi has also mentioned she has glasses upon her head and
Yes.
I take glasses. Happened to me too once it happens.
And then I've been wondering why Krishna does what he does. Of course, he's Krishna. He can do whatever he wants. But sometimes we pray to Krishna for him to do something, and it's like he's not there. And I realized he even did the same thing with Lord Brahma. So I realized I'm not alone. So, well, this Krishna. So, of course, I'm also realizing that I'm not yet a devotee because from your beautiful explanation, those who are devotees, once they've tried their best, whatever else happens, they say, okay, this is Krishna's will. But oftentimes that is not my situation. Especially when I feel I've done all I needed to do and things still do not go my way. That is when I give so much accusations and blames to Krishna. But it's a very good lesson. I have to try. So I would say thank you so much for this wonderful, beautiful class. So much to learn from. And if you have some statement, Prabhu. Govinda Prabhu, yes, please you may unmute. Govinda, yes.
Yeah. Sadhu Prabhu, see, you're not alone. I remember, I remember one time I was talking to my wife, and at a point I asked her, I can't find my phone. Where's my phone? And then she also responded, but have you checked on your passenger seat? Maybe
You're talking on your phone.
I'm talking on my phone with her, and I said I can't find my phone. And she said, look on your passenger seat. Maybe it's there.
Oh, Krishna.
Oh, okay. Oh, this mind.
It's funny.
Oh, Krishna. And Prabhu, I have a question. It's a little bit outskirts of the discussion, maybe. But if you can kindly help me understand, uh, you know, the four Kumaris happen to be the gatekeepers to the spiritual world.
The four of Brahma are not the gatekeepers of the spiritual world. They are not the gatekeepers of the spiritual world.
I mean, I'm talking of Jai and Vijay.
Vijay, yes. When they cursed them, yes.
Yes. So, I used to wonder why gatekeepers to the spiritual world? Can anybody just get entrance, sneak into the spiritual world? Is it the reason why there are gatekeepers, or what is the real significance of Jah and Vijay be the gatekeepers to the spiritual world.
You do know that is the seventh gate. So there are six gates before that also, where there are gatekeepers in the spiritual world. So when you approach the first gate, the gatekeepers are going to check with their divine lens. Do you have any lust? Oh, no lust. You have an entry.
Oh,
Then the second gate comes and they'll say, oh, do you have any anger? Material consciousness based anger. Divine anger is different thing, but it's material anger. Oh, you don't have any material anger. Then you can cross. Second gate. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsara. The six gates check you for your qualification.
hmm.
For Kumaras, even a child body, they just here to Hamsa Avatar. They completely derided the father's instruction. They said, nope, we are not going to do progeny. We are going to be, meditating on the instruction. And they thought that the instruction coming from Hamsa Avatar, the swan incarnation of the Lord, which is in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, is that supreme is Brahman. Brahman is supreme. That's what they're thinking. But they went in their journey, and there is also a description given that they got a hint of tulsi leaves aroma. It carried from the spiritual world to them. So they followed that aroma and reached the Vaikuntha, and they are going like, what is this? What is this? They're going over there. And they reached the seventh gate. That's where Jai Vijay are there. So they have crossed six gates successfully because they do not have any of these vices. Next time we want to enter the spiritual world, let's look at, do I have any of these vices? I will be stopped at the gate and have to return back. So again, that's also a test that we have to pass. It's not a simple entry. At the seventh one, they were not yet qualified because they thought Brahman is supreme. So Jai Vijay received this divine instruction. Because of that, they looked at these boys and they stopped them. Now, there are minimum 3 reasons I'll give. Actually, there are 14 reasons I know, and there may be many more reasons that are there, but for simplicity, as discussed in Bhagavatam. First reason was that they were Brahmanvadis, they were impersonalist, they were not realizing that Supreme is a person, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Second aspect was that these gatekeepers, they would see Lord Vishnu and they would feel like they were so strong and they had this, sometimes a father is showing so many amazing acts. The child may want to have wrestling with the father, right? When we father and sons, we see that common like a plaything. A child wants to, wrestle with the father, play with the father, get onto the shoulder of the father, those kind of things. So they wanted to have like a fighting, that fighting spirit. So, but in Vaikuntha, you can't do that. You have to come to the material world to fight with the Lord. That was the second reason, because they had this feeling of, it's a secondary behavior, chivalrous feeling. And then the third was, once they stopped Goddess of Fortune from entering, when Lord was resting, they said, no, Lord is resting, you cannot come in. Now the wife cannot see her husband because the gatekeeper stopped her. So later on, when she is able to see her husband, she said, you must punish these two gatekeepers. They stopped me from coming and seeing you. So Lord Vishnu has to satisfy his wife, right? Happy wife, happy life. So that's the lesson we learned. So Lord granted. So instead of them coming inside the seventh gate, Lord Padmanabha Vishnu, he reached the gate. He saw them at the gate. Now, it's very interesting that this is where they became qualified to enter the seventh gate, because they saw that the aroma of the tulsi leaves was coming from Lord's feet. And when they smelled those feet of the Lord, then Lord Vishnu, they realized that Brahman is not supreme, it's just the effulgence coming from his toes. The supreme is a person, Bhagwan, not Brahman. That realization came. yet at the same time to respect Lord's desire that they are not yet qualified, they return back. And Lord, in turn, gave opportunity to the gatekeepers to appear not as devotees, 3 times, but to appear as demons. So again, 7 times devotee, 3 times demons. Those were the calculations. Now, when we hear about Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyakashipu, we hear about Ravan and Kumkaran, we hear about Shishupal and Dandvakra. These are the births in the material universe that these gatekeepers have taken. We say, wait a minute, these are bad, bad people. But understand also, Mahatmanastu Mambata Devim Praktimasha. They are acting in the demoniac behavior under the influence of Yoga Maya, not Mahamaya. They're still under the influence of Yoga Maya. So sometimes people miss out. And they're actually maybe too big for this particular forum, but they get promoted and they also appear in Chaitanya Leela as Jagai and Madhai. And they are actually expansions of 2 Manjaris from Golok Vrindavan. So there is just, the more we start peeling, the more we come to know. And sometimes we have this tendency, like we want to know why this happened and that happened. It's always good. But let's not take it as a story, but understand what is the lesson that is being taught. That even though they became qualified at that point, they respected Lord's decision. Sometimes people visit Jagannath Puri, just because they're not from Indian origin. There's a big, they post it on social media, they're sending emails, we are not allowed to enter Jagannath temple, not realizing that Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswamis, these are the Goswamis, they never entered Jagannath temple because previously they were known as Muslims. Namacharya Shilahidas Thakur never entered Jagannath temple. He is the Namacharya, Nama Prabhu's mercy he has received. Still, he did not enter Jagannath temple. So it's the level of consciousness. My Guru Maharaj always said it's the strength. Having strong sadhana is the key. That is the secret. We saw in the case of Brahma's journey today that it was through strong sadhana that he was able to see the Lord after 100 celestial years. Once a devotee asked his spiritual master, I have been chanting for 10 days. I don't see any difference. The spiritual master's response in this case, my spiritual master's response was, your mind has been wandering for so many lives. Understand that even Brahma had to wait for 100 celestial years of meditation before Lord revealed himself as Paramatma in his heart. So we have to do our endeavor and wait for Lord's mercy. We cannot demand it. We have to receive it. And Lord is completely independent in his desire. There are various lessons. Sometimes we think of these as nice stories, but there are lessons for us to learn from. And that should revolutionize our life, the way we live, the way we think, the way we deal with others. And His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, he had an amazing instruction where he said, deal with others as if the success of your spiritual life depends on this interaction. So every interaction with others, he didn't say deal with other devotees. He said everyone else, when we deal with love, with compassion, with affection, with empathy. That is the mood as how we should be dealing with others. Others may treat us bad, but we should never think of it this way. Yudhishthira Maharaj example shines out in this case. He never considered Duryodhana as his enemy, while Duryodhana always considered Yudhishthira as his counterpart, as his enemy. He was always jealous, envious, afraid of Bhima, and so forth. But when we look at the example of Pandavas, they were willing to share everything with their cousins. So it's all about sadhana. And that's why Krishna has spent more time with Pandavas than even in Dwarka. Hare Krishna. I know I gave a lot for us to think today.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. JIVA TATTVA Prabhu. Well, I will share this video with you, this recording with you, and as a matter of fact, I will definitely go back and listen to this recording because there are so many important things to learn from. My mind is so porous. Once I walk out of here, I may forget so many things, but if I listen to it again, I might be able to retain lots of the important things you've
Yeah,
shared.
yeah, but sorry, Prabhu, before you share the video, if Prabhu still has some time, then can you please clarify this point in a second before Prabhu Sadev share the video? You know, Krishna says that whoever think of me, say always think of me, and if one can think of Krishna at the point of death, then Krishna says you attain that nature, you come to me. So I'm just wondering if one can think of Krishna at the point of death, does he have to go through this checkpoint? Because Krishna has promised that you come to me. The person may still have some qualities that are still not yet completely wiped off. But by Krishna's mercy and grace, he has been able to remember the Lord. Does he still have to go through the checkpoints? And
Correct.
otherwise, thinking of Krishna, I would say maybe it's not easy for one to remember Krishna at that point of death. Can you please clarify this point?
Hare Krishna Govind Prabhu. So what you asked is a very important point. The checkpoints are there no matter what. Let's just understand that factor. This is where Guru Kripa comes into action. We all hear of a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. She actually had a dream that she's going back and people are saying she's not qualified to come here. She's seeing these divine creatures all around her. But Srila Prabhupada was walking with her and he says, no, doesn't matter, she's with me. Dhruv Maharaj, he was not fully purified. Lord Vishnu touched his conch on the forehead and then he became fully qualified, completely knowledgeable. Lord's mercy, remember? The second factor is very important. When we take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master in the parampara, our spiritual master has to come back to us in this material world again and again so that he can take us back to the spiritual kingdom. It becomes his responsibility. That's why sometimes people think spiritual master, becoming a spiritual master is a fashion. No, it's a great responsibility because then you would be suffering, in this material world, materially suffering. But if you have strong sadhana, you would not be. You'll always be at that divine platform. But then you have to come again and again. That's why Srila Prabhupada said, have a strong sadhana and don't let me come back to get you. So we have to receive Srila Prabhupada's instruction by taking shelter, minimum 16 rounds every day, minimum 25 on special days. And always remember Krishna. Again, try to make our life, our consciousness, so that that first thought that comes should be, how can I see Krishna's mercy in this incident? Whatever is happening, how can I be grateful for everything that's happening in my life? And if something that looks adverse to us, nothing adverse can actually happen to us as living entities because a father never gives pain to his children. He's always in a loving way, but a father does discipline his children. That's also a way of loving the child. So sometimes Lord may just be redirecting us so that we can be on the right path. And that is for our benefit. Hare Krishna. Hopefully that provides.
Hare Krishna. Very, very much. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, all devotees. We're going to humbly request you all. Oh, no, before we do that, Prabhuji, sorry. I was asking if you have any sort of concluding remarks. reminder statement, you may do that.
So, my dear devotees, the only concluding remark that comes to my mind at this, by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, is people say time is money, right? Yet at the same time, we see even the richest people, they are afraid of running out of time. Please use this time wisely and chant with that mood that there is no tomorrow. And the best way to chant is say, I'm going to 100% focus on the current mantra that I'm chanting. Once it's over, then say, I'm going to focus on 100% on the mantra that I am now chanting. Keep that focus and wait for the mercy. So we have to do our part with honesty, with full surrender. And then as Lord provided path, and Lord may have a completely different plan than what we have planned for ourselves. Brahma had no plan of being the creator of this world, but that was Lord's instructions. So he followed those instructions. So we have to surrender means we have to surrender to Lord's will, do as he wants us to act. Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam. Following the past instructions of the predecessor acharyas in disciplic succession, we have to act as Lord Krishna desires, not as what we desire. That's the important message I want to share. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much. Beautiful conclusion. Dear devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our deepest appreciation to our revered speaker for today, His Great JIVA TATTVA, for sharing his love and wisdom with us today. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Ram, Vasudevyo Namo Namaha.
Antakwati Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
His Grace JIVA TATTVA Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Krishna.